2018 wasn't the best year for horror games. There were a few notable titles released in summer, like State of Decay 2 and We Happy Few. But towards the end of the year, our options for good horror games were limited. We had Call of Cthulhu, which was based on a short story by H.P. Lovecraft, and Overkill's The Walking Dead, to end 2018. But luckily for us, 2019 looks like it'll be packed full of horror games. So come along with us and check out the 10 titles that could make 2019 the year of the horror game. Resident Evil is a classic survival horror series fortunate enough to see remakes. While games like Silent Hill, Alone in the Dark, and Fatal Frame are slowly sinking into oblivion, Resident Evil remains to be one of Capcom's biggest franchises, still going strong 22 years after its original release. The 2019 version of Resident Evil 2 is a complete remake of the original, retelling the zombie plague that took Raccoon City. But despite being a remake, Capcom has made some important changes that take this game to the next level. Besides the obvious graphics update, Capcom has also updated the camera's perspective with a more modern, over-the-shoulder perspective and changed choice bits of level design. Resident Evil 2 was released on January 25th.
You were right all along. It's not just Russia out there. It's the whole world.
2 years after the events of Metro Last Light, Metro Exodus returns to the Russian desert after our war has plunged the world into an eternal winter. After adventuring through the dark tunnels of the Russian subway system, Artyom finally makes it to the surface. But that's only the beginning, because if he wants to start a new life with his wife, he must make it to the Far East. The journey there will be dangerous, filled with meat-hungry mutants, wolves, and even a strange cult full of lunatics trying to prey upon the group. It's no wonder that Artyom doesn't want to spend the night outdoors. But having to make the journey with limited supplies and ammunition will definitely get your blood pumping. Metro Exodus will be released on February 15th.
Is it beast? Yeah, that looks like the kind of place you want to call home.
The biker drama Days Gone has more to offer you than you first imagined.
Yourself at once. Jesus Christ.
It's set in a post-apocalyptic northwest region of the United States, destroyed by a virus that's turned most of the population into deadly, zombie-like creatures known as freakers. Freakers are fast and often attack in huge hordes, which means you usually have to find cover or run for your life. The game's horde mechanics are pretty impressive, and as a result, hundreds of freakers can attack protagonist Deacon at one time. You have to use every trick imaginable: remote-controlled bombs, your environment, various weapons, and even your motorcycle if you want to survive and escape this threat. Days Gone will be released on April 26th. Sinking City is another horror game based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft, but more specifically on his Cthulhu myth, which involves strange sea creatures with tentacles that can drive you mad if you look at them. You'll get to explore the fictional city of Oakmont in Massachusetts after it's been taken over by terrifying monsters. You'll play a private detective who arrives in Oakmont after these events take place, and realizes that in this place, full of strange rituals and questionable religions, nothing is as it seems. You've been warned. The Sinking City will be released on March 21st. 2019 is the year Luigi pulls out his flashlight again and powers up his newest poltergust to capture some creepy ghosts in the long-awaited Luigi's Mansion 3. This time, Luigi has some new tricks up his sleeve. His vacuum cleaner, the poltergust, has been upgraded, and his dark light device from Luigi's Mansion 2 is back. And just because it's coming from Nintendo doesn't mean we should underestimate how scary this game will be. Expect your fair share of zombies in 2019. Saber Interactive's World War Z wasn't based directly on the book by Max Brooks, but rather on the 2013 movie starring Brad Pitt. You'll get to experience the zombie apocalypse from a different angle with new characters and different situations. One of the biggest influences on World War Z has definitely been Left 4 Dead, Valve's zombie shooter, where 4 survivors have to work together to escape a zombie-infested location. In World War Z, there will be 3 campaign scenarios to choose from, each taking place in a different location around the world, and each being a 4-player co-op game, killing zombies with your friends. More zombies, more apocalyptic mayhem, and more breathtaking parkour skills await you in Dying Light 2, the sequel to Techland's huge hit, where a special agent with incredible parkour skills infiltrates a quarantine city. This time, the game takes place in a new location and the zombie mechanics work a little differently. Instead of 2 types of zombies, Dying Light 2 focuses on humans during the day and then switches over to the threat of zombies at night. Decisions that you make in the game will affect how safe or dangerous the world is for your character. This means that you have to think twice before killing or completing a mission for a faction. Dying Light 2 doesn't have a concrete release date just yet.
Who wants to find some sunken treasure?
You good? More or less.
Supermassive Games created their own twisted version of an 80s slasher movie with their horror adventure Until Dawn. We got a mix of exploration and a branched decision-making system that made every in-game experience unique, because the choices we made affected the story differently. With the Dark Pictures anthology, Supermassive Games continued this journey of interactive storytelling. The first part, Man of Medan, is scheduled for this year. It's about a diving expedition that goes wrong and a ghost ship that means death for some of the characters, depending on what decisions you make. There are several endings to the game, and remember, always be on the lookout, because each and every playable character can die at any time. The developers have said that many of the choices we make in-game will make us cry in real life. So get those tissues ready. We had a look at Someday You'll Return, a psychological horror game that, according to the developer, was inspired by games like Silent Hill, Outlast 2, Firewatch, and Resident Evil 7. It's less about fighting than it is about exploring and the story behind everything. Daniel is looking for his daughter Stella, who's lost in the woods. However, the forest harbors dark secrets. To make your way through it, you'll have to craft tools, but these tools won't necessarily save you from what lurks in the forest. And if you ask us, walking through the forest alone, especially this forest, is a terrible idea. You might remember Lavender Town with its dark mood and soul-draining music. Well, World of Horror definitely could have taken place there. The only discernible difference is that this Japanese city is haunted by terrifying creatures instead of sad Pokemon ghosts. True to the retro RPG formula, This game features turn-based combat and branching storylines. There's also puzzles to solve and areas to explore, and a ton of monsters lurking around. Definitely a lot more than in Pokemon, and definitely none that will be as friendly as Pikachu. As you can see from the trailer, World of Horror is not your typical RPG, and we can't wait to play it. Which of these horror games are on your wish list for 2019?